Buying plants from the garden center every spring is basically a financial disaster. Last year, I spent about $2,000 on plants. So this year, I'm trying something different. I'm starting everything from seed, using my first indoor greenhouse setup. So yes, you're probably thinking, okay, this lady is clearly a crazy plant lady. And honestly, you're absolutely correct. Because outside still looks like this, snow. And in cold climates, if you wait for warm weather to start seeds, the growing season is basically already over. So this year, I'm starting the entire garden early, right here inside this 5-tier indoor greenhouse. After a lot of research, I realized I needed 3 things for starting seeds indoors: consistent light, vertical space, and something beginner-friendly.
Are you helping mommy?
So I ended up choosing this 5-tier indoor greenhouse with built-in grow lights. Because every spring, I walk into a garden center and somehow walk out a few $100s poorer. Last year, that number hit about $2,000, right after we bought our dream lake house. So yes, the crazy plant lady phase started immediately. If you're also a slightly crazy plant person, hit like so I know I'm not the only one. This year, I'm growing annual flowers and a few Korean vegetables that are basically impossible to find here. Perilla leaves, Korean chili peppers. If you're Korean American, you already know. You can't find these at the garden center. So if I want them for summer Korean barbecue nights, I have to grow them myself. Which, according to crazy plant lady math, is still cheaper than flying to Korea just to eat perilla leaves. So the goal this year is simple. Grow everything from seed for a small home resort kitchen garden. And stop myself from spending another $2,000 at the garden center. But here's the mistake I made last year. I tried starting seeds next to a sunny window, and that's how I ended up with what I now call plant noodles. Long, thin, weak seedlings that flop over everywhere.
No.
Window light looks bright to us, but to seedlings, it's basically shade. When light comes from the side instead of above, the stems stretch. They grow tall and weak, and that's how you end up with plant noodles. If you've ever tried starting seeds by a window and ended up with plant noodles too, tell me in the comments. I cannot be the only one. For strong seedlings, the light needs to come from directly above. That's why grow lights make such a big difference. Once the light is overhead, the stem stays short and the plants grow strong, which is exactly why this indoor greenhouse setup works so well. It's a compact vertical rack with built-in lights, so the seedlings get consistent light every day. I actually spent a few days digging through Amazon to find a setup like this. So if you're trying to start seeds indoors and don't want to spend hours researching, I'll link the exact greenhouse grow lights and trays I'm using in the description below. Now, I'll admit something. When I ordered the greenhouse and the trays, I had a small moment of panic because it felt like the equipment cost more than the plants. Turns out that panic lasted about 5 minutes. Because once everything arrived, the math became clear. This setup pays for itself in one season. Crazy plant lady math is surprisingly convincing. So today, the experiment begins. Seeds go inside the trays, lights turn on, and the home resort kitchen garden officially starts indoors. But starting the seedlings is actually the easy part. The real challenge is outside. Behind the house, there is a garden bed that actually looks like this. Just rocks, no soils, no plants, nothing growing. Originally, I planned to clear it out and build a kitchen garden there. Except right now, there is one small problem. It's covered in snow. So that project has to wait for the next gardening video. When the weather warms up, we're going to clear all the rocks, add real soil, and move these seedlings outside. So if you want to see whether these actually survive, make sure you're subscribed. And if you want to see how this garden journey started, I'll also link a couple other videos here, like the time I planted over $1,000 worth of hydrangeas, or when we first moved in and cleared the entire overgrown garden. Those were also slightly chaotic, but that's part of the fun. Because if we are serious about building a life we don't need a vacation from, the garden has to be part of it too. And now I'm curious. Are you team buy plants at the garden center or start everything from seed? Let me know in the comments and I'll see you in the next garden update. Leave me alone, but don't stay away too long.